Always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beating. New open. New season.
New Celtics team.
New Celtics team.
This is not the Celtics I remember from last year or the year before. Where did they go? Oh, that's right.
New
Portland, Atlanta.
Celtics team. The Celtics lose to an undermanned Philly squad at home, giving up 42 points. 42 points in the fourth quarter, falling 117-116 in what might be a snapshot of things to come. Sherrod, and again, we'll get into it. It's not all bad.
No.
It's just there's not a lot of margin for error with this team. There's certain things that they're just not going to be able to do at a high level. But I guarantee, and I'll tell you right now, that this is going to be a we got good looks sort of game for Joe. Mm-hmm. And there's an absolute shooting variance to be factored in here. I would say on the positive side, they're able to get shots, and they were able to get some decent shots and some good looks. But they shot 11 from 43 from 3, which is not great. They got to the free throw line 26 times. That's not bad at all.
No, 17, I think, in the third, something like that. Yeah.
And then in that third quarter, exactly when they kind of looked like they had dropped the hammer and put the game away. I know people are going to be looking at the last couple of possessions, and we'll certainly talk about those and scrutinize those a little bit. And, we'll be joined by Jimmy Toscano. We'll be joined by Bobby Manning. We'll be joined by Noah Dalzell. We'll hear from Joe Mazzulla at the podium. It's the first of many Garden Reports here. So we'll do the whole thing. We're going to do it all. First off, we want to let you know, Garden Report brought to you in part by our pals over at PrizePicks. Download that PrizePicks app. Use code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, we're talking about the number one daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Download the PrizePicks app. Code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineups. And also, you're hungry. I'm hungry. We're going to get ourselves some steaks over at Omaha Steaks. Yeah, it's a Celtics show, but we're using the code Patriots. When you go to omahasteaks.com, use that code Patriots. We're looking at a 50% off site-wide sale, in addition to $35 off when you use the code Patriots at checkout. Omaha Steaks, go check it out right now. As for the game itself, Sherrod, what jumps out to you here? And again, as I said, there's going to be a lot for us to talk about and dissect about this game. But again, I would
say you're right, John. There's a lot that I liked about what they did tonight. But to me, the thing that jumps out is the ending. We have well established that this is Jaylen Brown's team. And in the absolute most critical moments, Joe, to the podium.
Boom. Got Joe at the podium already. We'll get to it.
19 points after taking a 7-point lead. What did you see in that stretch that led to that?
I think there was a couple of transition baskets that we gave up, either from just not crashing through the right lane or them getting out ahead of us and gave up an offensive rebound 3. And then, Maxey dribbles under the basket, hits Barlow in the corner. Barlow hits the Grimes. He gets a catch and shoot 3 from there. So just a breakdown in some of our defensive stuff. And, we just have to be better.
Is there, obviously you just came out of the preseason, and there are timing issues, there are chemistry issues, things that kind of lead to maybe, you had a few illegal screens in there. Is it just like a timing thing
I think, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, obviously you're looking at the relationship between the ball handler and the 5-man and setting up screens and whatnot. But I mean, those are going to happen the entire season, just with the physicality of the play and trying to set screens. So yeah, it's not like the rustiness of the first game. It's just something that we have to continue to be great at. But a couple of those are going to happen because of the physicality of the game.
Joe, what were you looking for on the last possession? 2 looks for Peyton there. What were you looking for?
Just looking to get the ball into our playmakers' hands and make a play. So we got the ball into the paint, got a decent look. And, that's all you could do is get it to those guys. And they gave us a chance to win.
What was your takeaway from the offense, the way it functioned in this one as guys settle in the new roles and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the pace at which we played was decent. I thought our spacing was relatively decent there. Just have to continue to create advantages. But, for the first game, I thought it was pretty good.
Joe, it felt like in the third quarter, your guys' pace really worked a lot. Like you got a lot of transition opportunities, and you've talked about the relationship between that and your defense. It was an 18-point quarter for Philly. Was there a shift in that in the fourth quarter that you noticed that led to their big quarter, or was it, other stuff on defense?
I mean, if you give up 42, you probably give up a little bit of everything. I think lost Maxey on a couple pick and rolls where we went under instead of chasing him over, getting him inside three. Again, a few transition opportunities on whether it was a live ball turnover or not, the byproduct of not getting an offensive rebound, and then offensive rebound threes, and then, some shot making by some of those guys. So when you give up that many, it's probably a little bit of everything. But, we just got to clean up some of those things.
Joe, just curious what your thoughts were with Jaylen Brown tonight. It didn't look like he maybe had his full explosiveness, and also it seemed like he did embrace the role of being a playmaker.
I mean, I thought he had his explosiveness. I thought he played well. I thought he gave us started the game on Embiid, gave the game what required. Yeah, I mean, I think he'll continue to get better and better. But I thought he played well balanced basketball on both ends of the floor.
Joe, what do you take away from this one? I mean, the last 4 minutes seemed to be kind of where everything went haywire. And
yeah, I mean, you take that again. It just goes back to the process of winning. It doesn't matter.
Process, no.
Transition opportunities in the first half. They had 18 points. I would say 40 to 50% of Maxey's points came in transition and at the free throw line. And so he's great at that, but you have to be able to do that. And it's just the details, it's the transition defense. It's the timely offensive rebounds. It's the execution, just all those things that go into winning, and they're habits that you just have to continue to fight for.
Edgecombe is his first NBA game. He scores 36. I mean, how difficult is it scouting for a guy who's never played, and then you don't expect him to? I mean, that's just kind of out of the blue.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a really good player. And again, he scored, hit 5 threes, got to the free throw line a little bit, but got a lot in transition, and he's just a good player. So it's a credit to them, and when we play them, we have to be better at defending them.
Joe, you guys were able to force 13 turnovers in the first 3 quarters, just one in the fourth. What went different there?
I mean, again, some of that we have to be more active in our shift opportunities. We have to just keep that activity going. Like you said, one turnover in the fourth. We would just have to be more active in that and have to be able to make more plays in that.
Joe, what did you see at both ends of the floor from that 3-guard lineup with Anthony, Payton, and Derek tonight?
Good speed, good pace. I thought we really generated a lot of cross matches when they were able to get out there. I thought they both did a good job of finding opportunities for themselves, but also creating. I think as they start to understand spacing and learning there, I think at the end we just had a miscommunication on a late game action, but that's just them having an understanding of that. But I like the pace that they play with, like the spacing that they had, and having 3 guys that can attack the paint and penetrate and finish or kick is it's going to be good for us.
Final couple questions, Zach.
Were you encouraged with what you saw from Nimi today?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got it in him to be good for us, and he did some really good things. Standards high for him. I thought he answered the call, and he just has to continue to get better and better.
And then Xavier Tillman also played a significant role in the front court. What did you kind of make of his performance?
Yeah, I mean, his defense, his ability to defend, and when they went zone, he set some good screens for us, got us some advantages on the offensive end, had some good possessions, on Embiid. And, when he's open, he's just got to have the confidence to continue to shoot it. Thank you.
And that is Joe Mazzulla wrapping up his post-game press conference. A little bit of humble Joe right now. He didn't get into there wasn't a lot of back and forth with the media there. Didn't get snippy or short on anything. Kind of played it straight. Answered all of the questions because, again, I do think he, like probably a lot of us, recognize, Sherrod, that this could be a bit of a roller coaster of a season here, and he's got to work through the type of team that he has and figure out exactly what he has. And so I guess I promised Noah in pregame that I promised.
Damn it.
That I would not overreact one way or another, meaning, guys like me and Jimmy are concerned about the team. And, other people are a little more bullish just where they're going to be. Yep. So I said I wasn't going to overreact to, as long as they wouldn't overreact to a win either. Play it down the middle. However, and this isn't a victory lap or anything, I do think some of the things you're worried about showed a little bit. And that's kind of where it's going to come down to is I do feel like the Celtics are going to find themselves in a lot of 50-50 games, and I wrote this on the bold predictions, and you don't necessarily know how those are going to go because it's not, we're out of this mold of if we play our best game, we win, and it's beyond just, if we just execute, we do this. The team has limitations. They're going to struggle defending all year long. They really are. They're going to allow open shooters. They're going to do a lot of different things here. And that's how it's going to be. The bigs are going to be a continued issue. Bench scoring is going to be a continued issue here. And that's just kind of where they're at. And all that being said, they still found themselves in with a puncher's 11-point lead in the fourth quarter. And it just kind of, pissed away. So I will say the things you're concerned about, and again, Garza goes out with a concussion there, but like Minot, revelation in the preseason. What's he going to do in the regular season? Run around, give you some energy, but he's not going to score. He's not, he's going to be a tough guy to trust. It's going to always be a little bit shaky offensively when they're out there. You talked about that 3-guard lineup there. That's fine. The one thing that keeps coming up in the chat that I want to bring up, and I'm curious your impressions here, was, Jaylen Brown. The question was asked very matter-of-factly. Jaylen didn't look like his explosive self. A lot of people in the chat saying the same thing. A lot of people in my Twitter mentions are saying the same thing. I didn't want to make a big deal about it. I didn't think he looked very explosive in the preseason either, but also he could have just been ramping it up, and he looked like he was. He wasn't even really, he didn't break a sweat in the preseason there, but it is the regular season, and we might still be in a slow ramp up here, but he didn't look like explosive Jaylen to me. I didn't think he played a bad game, but that's a part of his game that you need and you want to see. Do you agree with that assessment? Because again, a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, I think Jaylen had what we would call an average Jaylen Brown game. He was a little bit more efficient than he normally is, and he passed a little bit more. But overall, this is pretty much what Jaylen is going to get you most nights: 25, 6, and 4, 25, 5, and 5. That's who he is. But the problem with that is this team can't have average Jaylen. They're not going to win with average Jaylen because average Jaylen was a great number 2 to Tatum. But average Jaylen is going to have many nights like this where if he's having an average night, they're going to lose by 1, 2, 3, 4 possessions. They need him to be above average night in and night out. And it just didn't happen tonight. And that don't take that as if I'm saying he's the reason they lost, because he's not. But when you're the best player on the team and you're undisputed best player on the team, you've got to step your game and elevate it up. And that's the thing. And the mention about his hamstring, I absolutely think that's a concern, especially when you look around the league and in other sports where guys who have hamstring injuries, they usually miss some time, whether it's a week or 2 here or longer than that. And you're right, though, for Jaylen having already had hamstring issues, it's hard for me to imagine that there isn't a part of him from just a mental standpoint that's a little bit concerned about that and is maybe trying to test it out a little bit as opposed to just playing his normal game. That being said, he's so good that he can get you 25 points, shoot 50% from the field, knock down a couple of threes, and it still come away with him being an average Jaylen Brown game. They can't do average. He can't be average for this team to win.
Yeah, and that's another kind of I think big factor in terms of me being a little bit concerned with how a lot of these games will go. It's that margin for error. You can't, and you didn't have a bad Jaylen Brown game. You didn't have a bad Derek White game. Derek White didn't shoot well in the first half. He turned it on a little bit later. But one of the beauties of that last team, over the course of the last 2 seasons, was you could win games not only you did win games all the time with Tatum and Brown having off nights because you had so many other people to pick up the slack. You don't really have that here. And again, you might still get some big Pritchard games in there too. Simons is capable of going off, forever, but there's a lot less margin for error there, where whether it's an injury, a load management game, or just an off night, it's harder to survive. Against a good team, it's going to be harder. You're going to need A games from everybody. And against these mid teams, like I said, it really is a bit of a toss up. And my concern with the entire lineup is everybody's punching a little bit above their weight class. Pritchard's being thrown in with the starters and being asked to take on the load that entails. And he's never actually been terrific at that. So that's something I'm a little worried about. Sam Hauser, to me, is a guy that is, spotty, not necessarily consistent enough to rely on for, a lot of minutes. And he was, a bit of a non-factor here. And then everybody in the bench, I feel like everybody's playing a little bit up from where they need to. And so you're going to be asking a lot of people on a nightly basis. And that's kind of where, where it falls. And, I'm going to have to, I'll have to see something different in order to feel different, but what I don't want to get into is my biggest fear is that, Garza, Minot, and Boucher all stink. Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh have been those guys. How bad is that? You pulled 3 minimum salary guys off the bench who've supplanted your 2 most recent draft picks in the rotation. That's not a good sign at all. In step back or tanky season, Sherrod, you're always talking about let's let the kids play, but no, that's not what's happening here. The kids are out of the rotation. That was tough. And Ugo came in for like 10 seconds and he went out too. That's not great. I mean, Ugo's fine. He's young. I mean, under normal circumstances, if it was last year's team, you'd be like, go to Spain, young man. We'll see you in a year. So he's here because he has to be. But and I think you got to force Ugo into the lineup sooner than later because you're going to need the athleticism for sure. Jimmy Toscano joining. Give us a thumbs up, Jimmy, when you think you're good. Even when Jimmy thinks he's good, he's not necessarily.
I was going to
good,
say
so
that's
I'm a little bit worried about it.
Always.
He might think he's good.
The second coming of Jimmy you guys had on the pregame show with the Tatum jersey, little Jimmy.
Oh, did you see little Jimmy on the pregame show?
I did.
That poor kid was devastated when he found out it wasn't. He's like, "Is this going to be on TV?" I'm like, "Nah, we don't do TV. That's not here."
No.
So, Jimmy, what do you think? You want to come on?
Can Jimmy come out and play?
No, he's still there. Little Jimmy was a star. Yeah, for whoever was watching that pregame.
Yeah, he was cool. That was very cool.
That was fun doing that, actually.
Yeah, Aztec Gino sighting. That was interesting. I've talked with him before, but I never had a conversation that lasted more than 8 seconds.
Those guys love it. The people are coming up to Bobby and Noah all the time. They're like, "Hey, we like your work. We like your work." And then they look at me and they're like, "I know who you are."
John.
Yeah, I don't really like you. I'm like, that's fine. I know you too, but I don't really like you. Like nobody has to like me. It's fine.
No.
It's fine. I'm not crapping on Jaylen Brown. I actually thought he had a relatively efficient game. I don't think he forced things. I thought he had a little stretch there where he made some good passes. There, I mean, he didn't make it all about him there at all. He wasn't doing the head down, force the action, dribble into whatever. Tried to get other people involved. Had a little stint in the fourth quarter where he, was doing his thing. I'm just looking physically, and again, he could still be ramping it up from the hamstring injury. Let's bring in Big Jimmy Toscano. We saw little Jimmy on the pregame show. We got Big Jimmy right now. Jimmy was down there. Jimmy was down there. Yeah, it was a wild John sighting down at the Garden. I went down.
John was down there. Fun. Bobby and Noah were holding it down. I made an appearance, a brief one. I said my piece, and I got to say this. What I said in the pregame show, I'll repeat here. We posted our bold predictions on Instagram, on the CLNS Celtics Instagram account, which, by the way, is an unbelievable Instagram account. If you're not following it, you're really missing out because the producers do a great job with content, not just show content, but they've got a lot of access, pictures, videos, and things like that you guys should definitely check out. But they posted our bold predictions, guys, our record predictions in. I took a little bit of heat on there, I think, for my record, and it looked like the Celtics fans were stunned that we weren't as confident as some of them are. Unfortunately, I don't feel any better about things. I think my prediction of them missing the playoffs after watching, and again, it's one game. I don't want to jump off a cliff here, but some of the things that I was concerned about, I did see in real time. I was at the game watching it, and I had some concerns. For sure, I had some concerns. I thought there were some good things that Jaylen Brown did out there. I thought that he had good court vision tonight. I thought he made some good passes, and I thought Kada and him had a little bit of a connection going on before Kada fouled out of the game. But I felt like he was, I don't want to say slow, but I did feel like he was.
Everybody's kind of saying that. Everybody's been saying it.
Kind of cruising out there and not exploding.
Yeah.
And that, I will say this, I don't know if it's the hamstring or what, but I will say on that play that I don't know what was going on in his mind, but he just thought he was going to just dunk flat footed, and he just jumped straight up, and it ended up getting a foul call. Originally they said it was going to be Pistons ball, but Joe challenged it, and it went back to the Celtics way, but he was grabbing at that hamstring a little bit after that play. I don't know if the cameras caught it, but I was watching it, and just something to be on the lookout for. He may have been playing, Jaylen Brown's not going to want to miss opening night, right? So home opener with everything going on, he's going to want to play. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was playing through a little bit of pain tonight. Hopefully it's not anything that he made worse, and it's not going to linger on too long. But I did sense a little bit of him not being full on Jaylen Brown. And ultimately that was one of the reasons why the Celtics came up short, because him and White clearly are the 1 and 2 guys in this team. I thought Pritchard had a tough game. The shots were not falling for the Celtics. 3-point shots were relatively cold, I think, for the most part. And I haven't checked the team stats actually since I got back from the game, but just based on what I was seeing, it looked like they were missing some open ones. And down the stretch, the players that looked like they were taking over and taking control were in Sixers jerseys. Maxey took the ball, and at one point, I think he hit 3 straight threes. And he just looked like he was going to will his team back in some capacity. Even though the Celtics would go up 7 or go up 9 or whatever it was, Sixers were that bench looked confident. Maxey was running the show. As soon as Embiid left the game, man, if he doesn't step foot on the court for the Sixers again, that might be a good thing based on what I saw out of him tonight. Mm-hmm. But him and Edgecombe, historically good performance by VJ Edgecombe, the most points in a rookie debut since 1959, Wilt Chamberlain. And I'll tell you what, it looked like it. The second he stepped foot on that court, Sherrod, I'm sure you guys saw it too, he was lights out. I know there's people people at the game being like, wait a second, who is this guy? Obviously he's a rookie, and unless you're really up on things, you're watching a game, not really up to speed on all the rookies. But he stepped foot in that court, Sherrod, looked like he'd been playing in the league for years.
No, the only moment in the game where he looked like a rookie was when he missed those free
throws. Yeah,
that was it. Right. That was it. And I mean, and the thing that impressed me with him was that he had a high level of diversity to his game. He was knocking down the 3 ball. He was finishing at the rim. He was getting pretty much wherever he wanted to spot wise and making the shots that he felt confident in making. And that was the thing about him. At no point did he look shook or even rattled or just he looked like a guy that had been in the league for like a good 6-7 years. And this was just the first game.
Except when he missed 2 free throws.
Right.
Other than the free throws, right. So,
but there's some guys on the Celtics that might miss similar free throws, John. I'm not going to name names because we're not going to do that. But there's been some Celtics stars that have been known to miss a free throw or 2.
No, but Jimmy, the point that you made earlier about how this game brought a lot of your concerns to life. I thought the Celtics did that, and yet still I thought found a way to almost like kind of 3-card Monty your ass, and so that you didn't really see what was bad because they were going to find a way to win. Because when they were up by 11 in the fourth quarter, I'm thinking this will be a great win for them because they really didn't play that great, and yet they're going to find a way to win this game. And as the lead started to shrink, you became, okay, now reality is setting in. They really haven't played that good. Philly knows they haven't played that good, and Philly is just going to see which team is better at executing down the stretch. And clearly the Sixers were at both ends of the floor. And that sequence at the very end where you got 2 cracks to win the game, and your best player does not get a shot off. Doesn't even I don't think Jalen didn't touch the ball, I don't think, on either one of those last two offensive possessions.
No.
Well, the inbounds, yeah, just went to Pritchard.
One of them, I thought Oubre did a good job. The other, he kind of disappeared to the corner, and Pritchard, just put his head down and went, and it just didn't result in anything. I don't have a problem with the choice. To me, it's like you got guys there like Peyton Pritchard can score. Derek White can score. Jalen Brown can score. I don't give a crap that it ended up with Pritchard. That to me is not an issue. He's a little guy and he's trying to get into the paint and it was difficult. That's the challenge.
With like less than 5 seconds to play and you need a point to tie or 2 to win.
If he's flying off a screen and he catches and he tries to knock down or he has space and he can, beat a guy off the dribble, but he's just driving into the trees there. That was a little bit tough. So I don't know about the choice, but
that was the issue that I had. The fact that he had the ball in his hands, that didn't bother me. The fact that he was looking to finish at the rim did bother me. Because I just don't think that's what you're going to do in that situation. And you're not going to get the foul, even if you do get fouled. So I had my issue was with just the decision to try to finish that way. And on one of the drives, he had Sam Hauser in the wing wide open because the defense had collapsed on him. So again, there's so many other things that they did wrong that put them in that predicament. But certainly that last 9+ seconds was just not good basketball on the Celtics part.
It wasn't, and it's going to be interesting because the last couple of years, the Celtics haven't found themselves in a lot of situations like that, right? Their games, a lot of their wins came, pretty comfortably, right? So you didn't have a lot of that crunch time execution that you needed to go to, and when you did, the whole world knew you were going to Jason Tatum. So this is completely uncharted territory for this team this year. When they are in close games, it's still going to look completely different than it did in past seasons because the guy that you always went to isn't an option. So they went to Pritchard tonight. I think you're going to see I hope you're going to see a lot of different looks, and Joe's going to have to get creative. And this is when coaching does come into play. And some of you guys have Joe as the coach of the year. Well, I'll tell you what, that could possibly be true, but he's going to be able to create that destiny because he's going to have to get creative this year for them to win games. He's going to have to reach into his bag of tricks. Coaching staff's going to have to do those things to find ways to win, find ways to close teams out. The Sixers are, by the way, everybody, not seen to be a playoff team this year, right? Is that accurate?
So I was going to spend a great deal of time had the Celtics won, just pissing on the Sixers' grave because, one thing you can feel good about is not good. I don't wish injuries and stuff on anybody, but I mean, you're looking at a team that was, a competitor and this and that. And I mean, Joel Embiid is beyond cooked. He's been cooked since the Olympics.
He's cooked
or washed. I mean, he doesn't play late. He's not out there, and they're much better when he's not on the floor. I mean, I tweeted this as well. Between Edgecombe, Maxey, and McCain, you've got a nice little core there, but you got to get out of the Paul George and Joel Embiid business because that's not great. But I was going to say this team's the Sixers are a mess. Those two young kids are great, but with Embiid cooked right now, they're not going anywhere. And this is kind of the worry is, again, this is not a great team. And they're playing your full lineup to a standstill, on your home court. And they don't even have two of their – granted, Paul George isn't a bad player. He's just a player you don't expect is going to be able to complete a season. But obviously when he's out there, they're better. When McCain is out there, they're better. So this is a team when they've got all of their horses is better than you. And it's a team most people in Celtics land think the Celtics are comfortably ahead of, and they're not. And this is kind of mine and Jimmy's point is they're not really comfortably ahead of many teams on paper. Not so much so that they can walk into a building and just win because they're the Celtics. They can beat and should beat some teams and could easily win a lot of games against, again, this is huge swath of teams in the middle of the Eastern Conference, who aren't great.
But they have to show up and play hard. They're not,
it's going to be a battle.
Be given. Yeah.
And Jimmy's, go ahead, Sherrod.
No, I was just going to say they don't have the luxury of playing a good quarter or good quarter and a half and expect to win. They can't do that anymore. They don't have that margin for mediocrity anymore. They've got to play good 2.5, 3 quarters just to compete. Forget about winning, just to be able to compete. And I thought tonight they played Philly, I thought for the most part, relatively even though they were winning, in the second half. I still felt overall they were pretty much neck and neck with Philly, and you can't do that and expect to win games. And as far as Joel Embiid, he might as well change his name to Gel Embiid because there's no O or D in his game anymore.
Oh no, Sherrod, you did not.
He's toast.
Oh my!
Sherrod,
he's already dead. You don't have to kill him.
The problem for Philly is that you can't play him because he can't help you, and you can't not play him because you can't move him. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're Philly, Tillman looked way more athletic than Tillman is, and it has very little to do, I think, his health, and more to do with the fact that it was Joel Embiid out there who was trying to guard him.
Both. He's also he looks much better, but also
he's better, but damn, not as good as he. There was one point where he beat Embiid down the floor and had a layup.
Dude, it's sad.
There was
a time where Embiid was one of the most electric players in the league to watch, and I don't want to go too long on ripping the dude because it sucks because it's about injuries, and it's just like, what do you even say? He's been dealing with this chronic knee injuries basically throughout his career, even before he entered the league. That was
came to the league, right.
So it sucks. You hate to see a great player's career kind of fall short, right? So, but yeah, that's a Sixers problem. So Celtics have their own issues, Sixers have their own issues. But I will say, if you're a Sixers fan, you're feeling pretty good tonight. You got an unbelievable rookie in Edgecombe, and so that's something they can at least build off of. And I'm not going to get into it tonight, but that's the benefit of being really, really bad is watching VJ Edgecombe do what he did tonight.
So that's what I was going to set you up for, Jimmy, is like for all of those, anti-tankers. And again, it's game one. I'm not doing this every game. I promise you.
We can't.
But again, what can a VJ Edgecombe do for you? What can a VJ Edgecombe added to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White do for you? A freaking lot, man.
A lot more than Baylor, Shireman, and whoever else on the bench you want to talk about.
That's the saddest part of tonight. The saddest part of tonight, and we saw it coming, is that your two most recent draft picks are unplayable on this team. That's crazy to me.
Well, you go aside who also didn't play.
Yeah. Let's let of our bold predictions. I nailed my Baylor Shireman one. The build the doghouse and sit in it. That's where he lives. He lives in a doghouse on the Celtics bench.
He didn't even get the pump fake call that Hugo got tonight. Hugo got called up to go in, and then Joe yanked him back, which was kind of tough for everybody to see. But at least he was on Joe's mind for like 10 seconds. I don't know if he even saw Shireman on the bench tonight.
No, he probably didn't. Anyway, real quick, we're going to get back into it. We'll get back out to the podium, which I've got my own problem there, but I'll tell you guys about it later. You don't want to listen to me gripe about podiums, but I will a little. We do want to tell you a little bit more about our pals over at Prize Picks. And again, by now, this episode, all the episodes brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I and Jimmy and Sherrod, we make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss the excitement this season, whatever season you're in. We're talking football, basketball, hockey. Perfect storm coming Monday. All 4 sports at once. I love that. I love this time of year. Prize Picks, simple to play, more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks offers injury reboots. So if you had a Garza situation in your lineup, you get that refunded if he leaves the game. That's totally fine. Prize Picks also invented the flex play. Hopefully you didn't. That means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. So download that app today. Use code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. As we said, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. Back to us. And one other thing I'm going to beef about, old man yells at cloud. Joe Mazzulla. Oh, look at my timing. You see
Well
the
done.
heads in the way
Wow.
there? Do you know why there are heads in the way? Because after Joe beat the hell out of the media, he decided to do this "we're equals" thing, and they lowered the podium, and now we can't shoot it.
Well, why don't we get on we get on the pedestal. We
Rookie
put
to come
ourselves.
in.
We get Ahmed up
first
there
game
on
and put up. It was impressive. I don't know if I've ever seen someone have that in their debut, but
yeah,
he had a
I
really
should
good
have for
game.
Will.
Derek, you guys gave up, or you only allowed 18 in the third quarter, 42 for them in the fourth quarter. What changed from one quarter to another for you guys?
I mean, I think obviously they made some shots there in the fourth quarter, but like just our activity in the third quarter is kind of how we have to play for 48 minutes. So we got to try to find whatever we did in that third quarter for 48 minutes, but obviously you see what we did wrong in the fourth there, because that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Derek, just over here on that final possession,
Yes,
neither you or Jalen could get the ball there. Did you guys though get the looks that you wanted those two times, or did Philadelphia defend that in a way where you couldn't execute the play you're trying to execute?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get a JB. I don't think they did a good job of kind of denying him. And then P came to the ball, and then we obviously trust P in those situations a lot. So, I wouldn't change much.
Derek, you've got different guys in different roles and guys in expanded roles. In those last few minutes, do you have to play through some of those to experience some of those for some of the guys on the floor to get to a point where everybody kind of knows what they're supposed to do and who they're supposed to be in those scenarios?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard to duplicate that in practice. And so I feel like the last couple of years we knew exactly what we were trying to get to, and so it's going to be a little bit different this year. And so, I mean, it'd be good to learn from this game and see what we did well and what we didn't do well, and kind of what actions we want to get into. So, I mean, the best way to learn from it is to go through it. So there'd be a lot that we can learn from.
John, back.
Derek, along those same lines, how did you feel out there with the new guys? You guys haven't really been tested in the preseason. Now, Maxey and Edgecombe, those are the two best players that you faced so far. So getting that test, how do you feel like you guys did with all the new players that you have?
I thought we did good. Obviously, until the fourth quarter, and they made that run. But for the most part, we competed at a high level. And
those two scored 74
first game,
points.
we got to learn a lot from it.
We did good.
Like you said, like preseason, we didn't really face the starters for the most part. So, I mean, it's the first game for everybody. So I know they're going to get a lot better, and we got to get a lot better too.
Derek, what got you going in the third quarter?
Finally make a wide open shot. I mean, I felt like I was getting really good looks most of the game, and I just was missing them, and finally made a couple. So that's probably the biggest difference.
And then the Nimi on that short roll, how much has he improved there, and how big was he for you guys tonight?
He was great. Just being available, obviously a big target.
John loves seeing Nimi.
Soft touch around the hoop as well. So he did a lot of things out there for us.
Nimi and Pokey,
so that's something we're going to need a whole year.
Sleepy.
Derek, on that loose ball foul on Oubre, it looked like you hit the ball and the ball hit Oubre in the head. Did you make contact, or did you think about maybe trying to get Joe to challenge that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I trust Joe. I trust Matt. So obviously they thought I fouled him. Just trying to go make a play. I mean, obviously, pretty mad about missing the shot, first of all. And it turns into like a 5-point swing right there. But I trust them completely, and they obviously thought I fouled them. So it's a tough play.
And how do you kind of get the offense in the last 4 or 5 minutes more at a better pace than kind of, you had tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the tough part. You want to keep that pace that you had for the first 45 minutes, but you also got to execute and know those possessions are valuable. And so just try to get pace into the set Kind of think a couple of possessions, we kind of were like looking to see what we were trying to do. But that would just come with more reps of what we trying to do, how we want to execute on this possession. And but yeah, pace to get into it definitely gives us more options for multiple actions.
And that was Derek White, post-game press conference. Steve White, not a bad game.
25 points, 15 threes, John. Are we just – that's just –
Was it 15? I thought it was 13.
Sorry, 13 threes. But, like –
that's what it's
I
going to
guess
be,
that's
man.
the norm. Yeah, that's just how it's going to be. I thought 15 for a second. 13's not so bad.
13's fine. Oh boy! We will remove
that's
this.
going to be the season, though. That's going to
bring
be
it
how
back
it goes.
here. Yeah, as we said, there's more to come here. We got Bobby and Noah coming up in a little bit as we continue to talk through this. Bobby's in the locker room talking to Pritchard and a few other people, so we'll definitely get to hear from those guys in a little bit. Jaylen Brown is up. We're going to pop in on Jaylen real quick. And I will unmute him.
I think just tendencies. We let Maxey get going, and we got to do a better job, especially on one of their better players on the floor. Got to be more attention to detail on him. We let him kind of play free a little bit, where somebody got to, make sure we can't let that happen. I don't know if we was too focused on the offensive end, but we can't just let guys come in here and just do what they want.
It felt like your guys' pace in the third helped your defense as well. Did you notice any difference in that specifically in the fourth that could have affected things, or was it mainly just the tendencies, like you said?
So what's the question?
If your guys' offensive pace in the third quarter, it felt like it helped you guys get back because they were always having to take the ball out because you guys were making the shots and playing fast. Did you notice, your pace slowed down at all in the fourth quarter, and do you think that had any impact on the defense?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I got to watch. I thought we had a good pace in the third quarter. We came up from the half. Running to get up and down, make or miss, get the ball out, play with pace. Fourth quarter, maybe, we slowed down a little bit. Maybe it was a little fatigue. I don't know, first game, but we definitely want to keep our pace in the fourth quarter. I'm one of the believers that, fourth quarter, I know everybody thinks you got to slow down and everything, but why? We can keep playing fast. So we just turned the ball over too much, I think, in the fourth. That was the difference. If you're playing like that, you still got to take care of the ball. So,
Jaylen over here. Derek was saying that the last play was designed to go to you. Obviously, they couldn't get you the touch there. Just sort of, how frustrating is that to not have that opportunity at the end?
It's tough. It's tough. Definitely a winnable game for us. We had some opportunities. Even at the end, we had some opportunities that didn't go our way. It's a learning experience. This whole, is going to be a learning experience from day one. We got a bunch of new guys. We're playing a new style. I thought we played hard today. I thought I played a winnable game. We just, some crucial errors that cost us, but I'm looking forward to watching film and learning and staying with the journey. But, that happens, we got a new group that's still figuring things out. Some of these other teams and stuff have played together for a little bit more. So there's going to be some ups and downs, but I'm looking forward to just learning every day with the group. And I'm looking forward to when we get to that point where we catch our win, what that could possibly be.
And just how did you feel physically? I saw when you were on the bench that you were, kind of stretching out a little bit and doing stuff. How was the hamstring? Did you feel like you had full explosiveness?
It was fine. I thought it held up well. Definitely got to do some recovery within the first 2 weeks. Coming back from a strain, you got to make sure that you get your recovery in, because that's when the risk is at its highest. So I'm just make sure I'm focusing on my body, getting my rest, doing my recovery, and getting ready for the next game.
Jaylen, you just talked about all the new guys, and we've talked a lot about getting everybody together on the same page. Meanwhile, you're in a winnable game. You have your skill set, Derek's skill set. Where's the balance of trying to work it together, trying to get everybody together on the same page, closing out the way in a style that you guys want to play, versus like I can take over here and kind of break from maybe a little bit of what you're trying to do. Is there a balance there? Is there a decision to be made there?
Maybe every game is going to be different. So you just got to, I guess, get a feel for it as we continue to go on. But I like the shots that we got all game. Like, we didn't shoot the ball particularly well. And in the fourth quarter, same thing. But, you know, I believe in my guys. We had a lot of open looks right on the numbers, and we missed them. So we looking forward to that, shooting with confidence, and we looking forward to the next one. But it happens. But it is a balance, but we'll figure out more as the season goes on.
Jalen, you talked a lot of training camp about the characteristics you want this team to have, to be the harder playing team, to be the smarter team, to be physical. How would you evaluate, regardless of like the late game execution, how would you evaluate the identity that you guys had in this game? Do you feel like it was kind of on the marker for where you want to be?
Not bad, but not good enough. Gave up too many rebounds, and we played really, I thought the third quarter, we played with that edge that we're looking for, but we got to maintain that for 4 quarters. From the rebounding standpoint, I think that's the part where we gotta really 5 guys rebounding. You know, a bunch of balls bounce over our head and things like that, but it's a 50-50 ball every time the shot goes up. We want it the most, and you know, I got to get in there and get more engaged, but we got to do better on the glass, because I think the offensive rebounds, we didn't have enough, and they had, you know, a decent amount. So we got to do better.
Jalen, for the last 10 years, you've played knowing that you have a chance to win every night. Is this team have to kind of, with building without Jason and just with so many new guys, do you kind of have to get a new confidence? Like, do you have to kind of feel better about yourselves or good about yourselves again, because there's just so many new guys, you don't know what to expect? Is that got to be rebuilt? You know, the season is not going to happen now, but does it have to be built?
Yeah, we've been building it. We've been building it in training camp. And obviously, first game, very winnable game once again. And we'll learn from this. We'll learn how to close. We'll learn how to, you know, spots where we could be better. And that's what it's about. I'm not looking for my guys to hang our head whatsoever. We just get ready for the next one. Going on the road for the first time, it's going to be a good test for our group. You know, being consistent, you know, for a young player is the testament of what the NBA is about. So being able to be consistent, being able to get guys going on the road, and being able to find ways to win is ultimately what it's going to come down to. So I'm looking forward to see what we're made of, and we're going to continue to learn and get better as the season goes on.
Jalen, Joe mentioned you started on Embiid defensively. Was that something you asked for, and is that something that you would like to do in setting the tone?
Yeah, I mean, going over the last 2 years, I would guard pretty much the best player night in and night out. I would start on. So, you know, no different from now.
And there is Jalen Brown. And man, you know, not even reading between the lines, but listening to Jalen and Derek talk, there's some sad girls right there. You know, like they know.
They do.
They
know. They know better than we do.
They know.
That's why, to me, that's why this game actually mattered, because this was a game where a lot of the concerns that we had were clear as day, and yet they were still in position to win this game. So then you could be like, okay, this is a building block type game where, yeah, we wouldn't play great, and yeah, a lot of the stuff that we're concerned about, we actually manifest that into reality. But damn it, we found a way to win, and that didn't happen. And so now all those things that you might have been more comfortable kind of putting to the side, things are going to get better. You're thinking like, oh boy, this might be the first of many dominoes to fall like this. I don't know how you can feel good about this one if you're the Celtics. I just don't.
Yeah, I think you gotta take bits and pieces of it. I actually liked Simons tonight. I think I texted you, John. I was like, why are they taking Simons out and putting Hauser in? And sure enough, what happens? They bring Hauser in, he commits a foul, and they pull Hauser like 30 seconds later. I thought Simons did everything he needed to do tonight to earn, some additional playing time coming up here in the season. I'm not going to get into should he start, should he come off the bench. Certainly talent-wise, he's good enough to start on the Celtics team. That I don't need to see anything else to believe that. It's just a matter of if you take him off the bench, what do you have on the bench? You really have basically nothing. So I understand what they're doing, and maybe it's just going to be until a little bit more practice or a little bit more game reps, and maybe they'll figure out what lineups work best together. I'm sure we're going to see some different lineups here because why not? This is the year that they certainly don't have a set lineup. You see Hauser, you see Keita, and obviously Keita I thought had a great game tonight too. So you got to take some bright moments from the game. Obviously overarching it, yeah, they blew a double-digit lead. They had this game in their grasp. They let Maxey sort of take control down the stretch. They gave up 42 points in the fourth. How? I do think part of it was Sixers got hot and they were hitting threes, but Bobby said it on the show a couple of games ago. It's like that's their strategy, is to let these teams take threes. So if that's the strategy, then I guess you got what you wanted. A Sixers team got hot. They've got they've got some outside shooters there, whether it's Maxey, whether it's Oubre, whether it's this kid Edgecombe now. They've got shooters. So if you're going to allow them to do that, they're going to take those shots. And on a night where I think the Celtics shot, 25% from three, it's just not enough. It's, it's not indicative of how you can try to win these games. So those are some of the things that stood out to me. If you're going to look on the positive side, I did think Simons looked good. Obviously, we talked about Keita briefly. I just don't know how those guys are all going to mix in and form a team that's going to be able to win games down the stretch. And it's going to take some time. I obviously get Missoula's got to figure out who's going to play where and when and which lineups are going to be more effective out there. It's not like it was the last couple of years where you could easily say, here are my 5 guys. Here's who I'm starting if they're all healthy, and we're going to go from there. There's going to be a lot of learning to go here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we don't have our full 5 yet, but we are able to work Bobby Manning into the mix, and we'll get him on in just a split second. We do want to tell you first off about Omaha Steaks. Oh, yes. Oh, Omaha. Give me the B-roll. Give me that B-roll.
Look at that burger.
Yeah. We're just going to look at it. I'm not even going to read. We're just going to look at it and just talk about the food.
God, that
just
like, looks good.
If you hear John lip smacking, he's getting hungry right now.
Anyway,
what,
you guys,
what needs to be said, right?
No, you guys know what to do. Go check out Omaha Steaks, omahasteaks.com. There is a site-wide sale going on right now as we speak over at Omaha, and you can get an extra $35 off with the promo code Patriots at checkout. Enjoy USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, cozy, convenient comfort meals, so much more. I already ordered mine. One of the cool things you can do, you can order it for the holidays. I ordered some steaks. I also ordered a full bone-in rib roast, which is going to be coming in and around Christmas. Yep, which I'm very excited about. And again, one of the cool things, it's a 50% site-wide sale, plus the $35 off with the promo code Patriots, which means $200 box of steaks or whatever you're getting down to $100 plus that code. Forget about it. Okay. Wow, $65 for $200 worth of product. It's terrific. And again, unrivaled quality and variety, every bite packed by their 100% guarantee. So take advantage of this early Black Friday sale and get your steaks today. Orders placed by 6 p.m. ship the same day. What they do, it's crazy. So check it out. Go get your steaks right now. Save big. omahasteaks.com. 50% off site-wide sale. 20% off select favorites. Plus, enter the promo code Patriots at omahasteaks.com. $35 additional off. You cannot beat that. So go check it out. But wait, why is I want Bobby? I just want Bobby.
Well, no, it's not just red meat. They got fish and stuff on there too. So for all you pescatarians out there, check it out. It's not just red meat.
Yeah, we're gonna
Speaking
go
of
just
beefcakes,
to Bobby. Hi, buddy. Look
Like
at this
me.
guy.
That's me, Jimmy.
That's right.
Oh gosh.
Bobby Manning. Bobby Manning
Here's
has
our
all the
fillet.
fans. I'll tell you that. How many fans
I cleared
does
them
Bobby
out
Manning have, Jimmy?
on the salmon.
Yeah.
Did you, Bobby? Love that.
Oh man, where do you guys want to start with this one? Because I'm all over the place.
You do it. I'm already tired. I don't want to do any more games this year.
Yeah.
Well,
Load
it was
manager
fun,
is ready
right?
to kick in.
I'm ready to
That's
load
my
manage
first-
this season.
That's my first takeaway. Is it was a fun game. They were able to build a double-digit lead, and you saw them do things that you think they're going to be good at this year, and then you saw the major weaknesses come into play, and combining those with the crunch time execution, which I don't think we knew what we were going to get there until we saw it, does add a bit of concern here, because you should have won this game, up 13 at the start of the fourth. The defense was obviously awful late. The transition Joe talked about over and over and over again, but I thought the last 4 or 5 possessions or so, they got bogged down. Things slowed. It turned back an ISO ball, which, when they were loading up on Jalen, he made a couple good plays. They were able to find Kada on like 3 straight possessions there, give or take, when they were playing off him. But when Kada fouled out, when Hauser got that offensive foul, and obviously the last 2 possessions for Pritchard there went haywire, this looked like a team that could struggle in those circumstances. And the reason that's worrisome is you're probably not going to be blowing many teams out. This is like a 1-2 possession game for a lot of it. And you go on that run to go up double digits there. But in this 3-point shooting league against a Maxey and some other guys there, that's going to come down to earth a little bit. And you could be playing in crunch time almost every single night here. So do you feel good about Jalen in those spots? Do you feel good about Pritchard in those spots, who admitted after the game in the locker room that he made a bad read there? He should have passed to Anthony Simons on the first play, I believe. And then the second one, he was just rushing to get a shot off. That's an early mistake for him in that spot. And he wasn't great tonight. I was sounding the Pritchard hype train on the preview show and all that. You guys who were on the Derek White hype train were the ones who were affirmed early here. And Jimmy, they did hit a couple 2s tonight.
I was upset. They hit 2 like immediately.
Yeah, Bobby, as we know, all you have to do is be right once, and then you have to demand an apology, Cam, right? That's how we do it from the other people. That's how you do it, I think. That's
how it works.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm excited about White. This was inspiring stuff from him here in this one.
We picked White. Sorry.
who's
that's
leading the
an
White
insane
train? John,
laugh,
Jimmy,
by the
and
way.
Noah?
That's the shoot. I was really wrong laugh.
One game.
Yes, Bobby. I have
game.
White as my All NBA this year. So yeah, we're starting that.
Noah's
right
All-Star. And John, did you have a White take?
Yeah, he did. It was more of a Jalen Brown take, but it was a White take.
Well, I will say that was another thing that stood out for me a lot of this game is White was running the show. I mean, he was the one on the ball. He was the one playmaking for a lot of this game. And Jalen was mostly standing to the side and letting other guys do their thing and working other players in. Then in crunch time, it shifted toward Brown. I don't know how you felt about that sequence, John, because that is where it slowed down and it got a little more methodical.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the whole thing we talked about with the pace, and and a lot of people in the chat have been like, so playing fast lasted like half a night, you kind of got
Philly was the fast one,
huh?
Philly was the fast one tonight,
right? I mean, duh, you have the fastest guy in the NBA. Like when you have Tyrese Maxey, you can play fast. It's just literally give him the ball, let him blur his way down the court. Everyone get out of the way. I mean, he's fast. Like, I think the Celtics, again, they tried early to do it, but you are who you are. Like, I mean, this whole, it's a good philosophy because I think it's a perfect philosophy. We're not talented enough to just walk the ball up, get in a half court, and go to work. Certainly not with certain rotations. So let's blitz them. And again, we aren't that great 7 through 11. So let's just play guys and turn it over fast and have guys rested with a lot of energy getting in there. I get it. But skill matters, right? And that's kind of what it's going to come down to is ultimately. Particularly
at the big man position. I mean, you saw the lack of talent there.
Can guys hit shots? Can can your guards defend? Again, you've lost some of your better some of your better overall team defenders. Tatum being able to guard almost any position on the floor, and obviously Holiday, and Porzingis as a rim protector, and so now you've got Pritchard on an island against these super athletic guards here. I mean, it's going to be challenging all over. There's going to be a million different challenges and pitfalls that this team can face because of roster, because of personnel issues. It's going to be this way. Yeah, it's just going to be this way.
I go the big man position when you mentioned that. Keita from the jump wasn't good enough, and they got him right out of there. Tillman.
Well, that pisses me off. I'm going to say that right now. Keita goes in and allows one offensive rebound. Then he makes another great play, gets an offensive board. He goes diving to the floor on a different thing. But Joe's already made up his mind. He's subbing him out because you can't allow a rebound. And while the sub was waiting to come in, Keita was flying all over the place, doing multiple things right. But the decision was made. He's out. And I got to tell you,
it was crazy.
The whole I'm going to get this out of my system now because I'm sorry. I like Xavier Tillman. I like talking to him. I think he's a good dude. I like that he got himself in shape, but get him the F out of my regular rotation. Like, this cannot.
You only have 3 bigs and you lost 1.
This cannot.
What are you going to do?
I know this is the problem. Is no matter who goes in, everyone's getting. It's like a baseball team with a bad bullpen. Everybody who comes in, you're like, ugh, that guy. Like,
I know it was a revolving. So, and you're right, John.
There goes the lead.
Right
feels like
they pull Kate out over 1 rebound. Tillman comes in, and they did the same to him after an extended stretch. They pulled their big after the first 3 offensive rebounds Philly got. And it wasn't like they were doing a parade to the rim and grabbing rebounds every single possession. I thought they held up decently there. Joe just had 0 tolerance from it. And that's an immediate second guess to me, John, from the press conference. We should have asked about the rebounds and why he was so tough on that in particular. I think we know what he would have said. But to have a 0 tolerance policy on any offensive rebounds, I know it's going to be a weakness for this team, and they got to figure that out. But they're going to give up offensive rebounds, and you have 3 big men. So what are you just going to rotate in and out all game?
I want to stop. I just don't play them. Play other people and just live with.
And that's what they did late. They played 3 guards late.
Play the 3 guards. Like, please play Bobby, you and I had this disagreement when the show before the thing, and you're like, I'd go Boucher. And I'm like, no, play the best players you have and hope for the best. Like, don't worry about what you want. Oh, I like double big. That's
you need
fine,
one
but not on this team. Double, you can. I don't even want to play single big on this team. Forget double big here. I think that's insane with this roster.
Well,
who are you going to play? Keita and Tillman, Keita and Boucher, Garza. Like, I can't do it. Bobby, hold on. You're going to take a powder for a split second. We're going to get you. We're going to get you out of there. We'll bring you back in. We're going to work in Noah. Guys, this is our problem. It's just a shortage of players. No matter who you're bringing in, you're going to find issues with them, and that's what happens with not great teams, right? That's where we're stuck. That's where we're stuck.
It is, but to me, if you're the Celtics, it's like your choice is basically which poison pill are you going to take? Are you going to play guys who are more skilled and talented, but aren't going to get you a damn rebound because they're too small? Or are you going to play your bigs who, in theory, should be able to help you on the boards, but they're not really good at it? You're screwed no matter which way you decide, no matter which way you go. You're screwed.
Yeah, and this isn't a revelation. We knew this months and months and months ago.
Right.
All off season, we said, what are they going to do at the center position? Like they don't have a center. And again, not a knock on the centers on this team, but they're just. I guess it is a bit of a knock on them.
It's a knock on everyone who didn't think it was a big deal.
Sure,
yeah.
But
that's
again, I mentioned Kate. I thought Kate had a strong game.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But is he a guy that? Is he a guy that?
I always get Noah. I always get her.
Well, did they get the warning? Did they get the warning? Is he a guy that's going to be able to give you 30 minutes a game every night? No, probably not. He's still got foul troubles. He's still kind of all over the place. He's going to drive you crazy at times. But to your point, John, there's nobody else coming. There's nobody else coming in that you want to come in if he's coming out. So yeah, why not play your guards? Why not play your swings a little bit more? Why not just if you're Joe, you got to get creative. I think Simons is a guy that as long as they don't trade him, I think he is a guy that's going to end up with a much bigger role here because he can just straight up play ball.
Yeah.
He can shoot, he can dribble. I thought his defense was fine tonight. I actually thought that he was making a point to play defense tonight. And I think that he's going to earn more and more time as we go along here.
Yeah, he made some plays
let's bring in,
I didn't think he would make. So it was. I thought he was solid defensively tonight.
Mm-hmm. Bringing in here, Noah joining Bobby, and we're going to talk about all our third centers right now. What do you guys got?
The third center left the house. I don't
know. No, everyone is a third center.
All right. Everyone?
Yeah.
All the
I thought Nene played a good game.
Good?
Nene was good.
Yeah.
When you foul out, it's tough.
Listen, I mean, I'm not saying it was a perfect game, but
I think he had a good game
too. All the centers were terrible,
Well, that's what John just said right before you came on, is he was active in the opening minutes there, and Joe pulled him right off the floor. And I wish we actually asked Joe why he had a zero tolerance policy on giving up any offensive rebounds, it felt like.
I don't know that that's for sure what happened.
You think they were just cycling guys?
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, at the end of the day, he fouled out, so I'm not too upset about him not playing more in the first quarter. If anything, looking back at a few of those fouls, are those things that he can fix? But I thought he gave them. I mean, when he checked out of the game, they were in control, and so he gave them that above the rim presence that I think we want to see from him. He wasn't perfect, but for his debut game as the right now starting center of the Celtics, I thought he was one of the guys that actually had a better showing.
Yeah, 2 fouls in the first 4 minutes on the court is not good if you're a center, particularly when you're playing a Sixer team whose great center is anything but that. And
it was interesting. They put Brown on Embiid.
I think
Bobby, you could have guarded Embiid.
I was going to say, yeah.
It was all jump shots. That was a smart game plan. I mean, Embiid didn't hurt them. It was the speed on the perimeter. It was the transition. It was the shot making. And you said it on our preview show. It was going to be about Maxey. I mean, he just blew everybody away.
He does this every time they play the Celtics. I don't know if anybody has the stats of Maxey over the last 2 or 3 years against Boston. I feel like every time he laces up against the Celtics, he's the greatest player.
Now, here's a second guess. He had 5 fouls and they couldn't get him out late.
Yeah.
That's tough. They were mismatch hunting, but they had to figure out some better way to minimize his impact. As far as Edgecombe goes, I mean, I don't know what you could have done there. He just kept getting in position to score, whether it was in transition or just finding cracks in the half court. I mean, that scoring total just kept going up, 25 in less than 3 quarters. And those are basically the 2 guys who hurt you. And I was saying this on the text thread. White and Brown were really the only offensive engines for Boston, too. So they ended up pretty one-dimensional between 2 guys creating offense.
Yeah, and I think you got a little bit of a burst from Anthony Simons off the bench. You got a little bit from Peyton Pritchard, but I think he was 0 for 6 from 3 until he hit that late one off the Tillman offensive rebound. Yeah. So you're gonna need more from him on a night-in, night-out basis. And I feel like he was pretty hard on himself post-game, but understandably so. I think he felt like he just made the wrong decision on that final play, which you don't actually hear guys say as explicitly.
So
that
he said
often.
It was supposed to be for Brown, right? And they just couldn't get it to him.
Yeah, but then he said that when he got the ball, that he missed Sam Hauser and Anthony Simons both being open for better looks.
I mean,
than
the
looks
whole
that he
thing
had.
was collapsed. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, you're gonna need a lot of guys to play better. But at the end of the day, they were very much in control of this game for most of the game and in position to win this one. We were. I was sitting next to you the whole game. We were thinking okay, they look good. This is an impressive performance.
I liked a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. And so I don't want to say I caught the tail end before I joined here. Obviously there's a lot that they need to get better at. And there's still those front court questions.
What's the biggest thing that stands out that they need to get better?
I mean, honestly, in this game, it was they just did not regard, I think, Edgecombe and Maxey the way they needed to. It was the same kinds of things that we've seen in years past. I don't actually feel like they lost because of the new roster. I feel like they were not really guarding those 2 guys, and especially Maxey. He got off some clean looks down the stretch that were kind of wild.
I'm just watching Wemby highlights right now.
How's Cornette doing? He had tough foul trouble early.
The fact that we're alive in the time of Wemby and Ohtani at the same time is insane right now.
Yeah,
it's bananas. What I will say, Cooper Flagg Scoreless in the first half, 1 for 8, minus 21, 2 points in 21 minutes.
Wow.
The rookie of the, I hope you got your rookie of the year. I hope you got your rookie of the year bets in early and put them on Edgecombe or Ace Bailey. Because Edgecombe was something special right now. And guys, it's pretty interesting. This isn't a 76ers post-game show, but they got a nice little core there between obviously Maxey, Edgecombe, and the other guy McCain when he comes back. If you
That's
could
what
just
blows
didn't
my
have
mind about that team.
if you
There's so
just didn't
much
have
good
to deal
stuff
with
there.
Embiid and Paul George, you'd be great.
And your two stars just can't get out there. And you know what I feel like so disruptive? Tonight it's minutes limit. Does he play next game? Is George back? Is he back full time at that point? Like, I think it's so disruptive to have guys in and out of the lineup every single night. Who's going to play tonight? Who's showing up? That is one thing the Celtics don't have to deal with here. Because again, I feel like these two teams are going to be in similar positions at the end of the year. Although there is an upside with Philly if they're fully healthy that you saw tonight, where they could actually be a contender.
Yeah, I feel like with the 76ers, if I was in that front office, like how tempting is it to just go really young and just start to build around that core, because they have some really exciting guards.
But you
and
can't trade Embiid. No
Jared
one
McCain was awesome last year before he went down too. So yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. I think the Celtics were a little bit caught off guard. I think was it Pritchard that said it, that they were kind of going to live with a 3, and then he hits 5 threes in this game, and so that didn't really work out.
Well, Jimmy was saying that right before I got on too. Like, the strategy this year for the Celtics is going to be more aggressive defensively, and you're going to give up a lot of threes doing that. They were out of position a lot defensively on the 3-point line. And that one's so interesting to me because this is a team that favors the 3 so much for themselves. Like, they know the power of it. They know how important that is in the modern game. And for them to be willing to give up some looks out there, I know they're trying to give it to the weaker shooters, but they gave up a lot of good looks out there today. The 3 maxi threes in a row were devastating.
That I don't think is the game plan. I
Right.
think that's not, how do they describe it as, not understanding attention to detail, not understanding personnel. But there were some ones, and I think Edgecombe's were very much the result of that game plan. And
Grimes one late.
I mean, listen, if this aggressive defense was always the answer, they would have done it last year too, right? Like, there's an obvious downside to that approach. And I think you saw it work in flashes, but not fully comprehensively.
Let's get to a couple of super chats here. And again, anybody who wants to throw down, hey, we love that, and thank you very much. Jared Scott, you know the Celtics are back when they choke an 11-point lead.
Ouch!
Ouch! They're turning. Eric Polanco, Joe should have focused more on his team blowing fourth quarter leads than trying to embarrass the Celtics media in a pickup game. I swear that's not my burner.
Who's getting the most heat tonight in the chat?
He didn't embarrass them.
Wait, no, Bobby, you're not ducking this one. I'm just kidding. That's not my burner. Either Joe drew up both plays for PP, or he can't draw up a play to get JB or White the freaking ball. Either way, PP shouldn't have taken those shots. They don't bother me. We talked about this earlier. NHC77, thank you very much. And longtime listener, John Harop here. Glad you fellas and lady are back. Still excited for the season, even with no expectations. Lady.
Should we rename
the second part?
Soft tank should be preferred. I want t-shirts, Jimmy.
Whoa.
Make that. Soft tank.
Soft.
Soft.
John, you're kind of like a John. You're kind of
Jimmy,
like a
you make
soft tank.
shirts?
Yeah, I am a
Jimmy's
soft
the
tank.
shirt.
I didn't know Jimmy made shirts.
He's the shirt.
By the
maestro.
way, Philly
Yeah,
should
I'm
trade
always looking
Embiid
for
and
shirt
George
ideas. No.
yesterday. Just as a heads up, anybody who wants to contribute here, we do appreciate the super chat, so we certainly don't ask for them. But if you do, the money is divvied up among the hosts, so we do appreciate that very much. And no, I want to ask you, just piggybacking just off of what Bobby's comment was, who's catching the most heat? Naturally, Joe gets heat because, everybody's low-hanging fruit, blames every loss on a coach. People didn't like the Pritchard shots. That was a point of contention. While people are not saying anything bad about how he played, there seems to be consensus in the chat, and certainly the line of questioning in the interview room about whether Jaylen Brown looked not explosive or not physically like himself. We spent literally a third of the year talking about how Jaylen looked physically at the end of last season when he was battling an injury. So we remember explosive Jaylen and not explosive Jaylen, but it's been a while. Did Jaylen look right to you in terms of his ability to, do Jaylen like things?
He didn't look 100%, but that wasn't like one of my biggest thoughts out of this game. There was one play where he had a wide open lane, and normally like a very healthy Jaylen Brown would dunk that, and he just kind of softly laid it in. You know, part of that is conserving himself. He's coming off of a hamstring thing that he was a game time decision ultimately. So I don't want to overread into that, but this wasn't the kind of game where I'm like 100% Jaylen Brown's physically back and perfect and all the knee woes and hamstring concerns or whatever are all in the past. Like it wasn't decisive enough for me, but when Joe was asked, I think it was Mark Gasper that asked, Joe was asked about him not being super explosive. I knew Joe was going to answer that way because I don't think that it was this like.
Gasper was hot on it. He definitely felt like he saw something for sure from.
I mean, and honestly, that's always the indicator of like we know Jaylen Brown loves to dunk. This is the home opener. He has a wide open lane and he lays it in.
And
so
he did say like
not going to overreact, but it's one of the data points that we have.
I said it in the preseason. Jimmy threw it out in our chat. Like it doesn't look like the most explosive version of himself yet. Doesn't mean it's gone, but it is just something I'm looking at because it's how we ended. And he had the knee injury, and he's battling the hammy, and they're being asked to play like super fast, and there's a lot going on there. Part of being able to play super fast is having your super fast, super athletic player be super fast and super athletic. So it's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on, but it's not like, as far as my concern level, it's not pinned to the red. It's an observation. I didn't think he looked, he looked all the way there.
And I thought it was interesting. I know you guys heard it at the end of his comment when he was asked about it, saying, I got to really focus on recovery right now, like the beginning stages of this recovery process. That's super important. So it feels like he's playing through it right now and trying to just manage it.
The knee or the hamstring?
The hamstring. And so does it linger? Is it something that for the first couple weeks here, they have a back-to-back Sunday and Monday? I wonder if we'll see him on both halves of that. Because it definitely doesn't look like he's 100% right now. I mean, with a hamstring, a week's probably a reasonable amount of time for like a low-grade tweak, but you're probably not, as you said, 100% coming back from it. So is he himself in a week, 2 weeks? Like, there's definitely going to be a period of time here where he isn't his normal explosive self. You just hope, as there often is, the risk of aggravation with something, hamstring is pretty tough, and, it's definitely something that can just be in your mind. You've had hamstring injuries?
Not really, honestly.
John?
I love to bring up my my high school basketball injuries.
You've had every injury, I feel like. John?
I never had one during any period
I never had
of time
either, thank God.
in my life where I
also-
would have
we're also
considered myself an
perfect.
athlete. I had an old man hammy injury.
Jimmy?
But like when I was playing, I never had anything.
Jimmy, I know you've tweaked your hamstring.
No,
Come on.
Sherrod?
I stretch.
No hamstring.
MPL,
Knock on wood.
No.
If this is wood.
Noah, let's a couple other things we want to talk about.
My uncle, though.
Bobby, were you and Noah sitting near each other this game?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say.
Wait, what?
Why aren't you gonna say?
Inside
Go ahead,
joke.
go ahead.
What's the joke?
Okay, I want to know what Noah's expression was when Ugo went in the game and then when he left the game.
Oh,
John, I was filming the whole thing.
that's a great.
Were you filming it?
I have self-control, but I so badly wanted to ask Joe about that moment and like why he went over to the score table, why he came back. I was like, this just isn't appropriate for the opening day loss. But he had a good attitude about it. He went over to the score table. He looked ready to go. About a minute or two passed, and then he kind of skipped back to the bench, high-fived everybody. Jaylen gave him one of these, like, it's going to be okay. I'll get your chance. So no Ugo minutes tonight.
And I know why he did it. He always says,
why?
If the other team, because he wants Ugo in against someone else on the other team, and if that guy comes out and he was planning to put him in against that guy,
that's what happened. Is that what happened?
That's usually what his answer is when a guy's about to go in and comes back, or a guy's in the game for like 2 seconds and then comes out.
There just wasn't a stop and play for a while, and so I think.
But there was still 30 seconds left in the quarter. Like he
wanted his debut to be more memorable than just 30 seconds.
No, I think that was a sub thing.
That was a really tough moment for me, though. Thank you for asking, John.
Well,
I was curious because that was tough. Also, again, it's worth pointing out because this is something we flagged in the preseason. It did have Shireman and Walsh played themselves out of a rotation, and the answer like again, Joe says we don't have one. So would it be shocking if each of those guys got some run in New York and maybe other people didn't? No, it wouldn't be shocking, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they've played their way out. I think they've played their way out of the rotation, which is insane to me here. And we were joking about Shireman being in the doghouse, but like, wow, like this team's not good enough to be abandoning.
Well,
to be abandoning hope on their last 2 draft picks.
I'll say that's one thing I'm not worried about this year.
So I hope that's not the case. Whether they suck or not, I'm going back to Romeo because this is my full circle Romeo point. Play him. Just shut everyone.
Just say Neesmith. Just say Neesmith, please.
Fine.
I'm sad I missed the John Romeo love affair.
It's not Romeo. Neesmith and Romeo were lottery picks. They deserved to play to see whether they could play. I don't believe Shireman and Walsh deserve to play just based on where they were drafted, late first, early second, or even early mid-second. But you are a team that really, at this point, probably just needs to see what you have, and I don't want to freeze these guys out just because Joe doesn't like one thing. I definitely want to. I'm not bullish on either at all. And in fact, I'm really convinced Walsh is not ever going to be a legitimate NBA player or rotation level player. But it's strange to me that they would be buried the way that they are.
Here's the question, and I have 3 quick thoughts on this. One, I don't think anyone's going to get lost for long periods of time this season. In fact, Garza just went down tonight. Who knows how long he's going to miss, but that's an opportunity for someone else. And 2, really for both of them, what are those guys giving you right now? Like both Shireman and Walsh. If you're putting them in the game, what are they giving you right now?
Walsh athleticism.
I guess.
I mean, sure.
Wait, what does that even mean?
What's your question?
I'm asking, like, if you were going to put those guys
what's
in
the
the
case
game,
for playing those guys over the guys tonight?
I don't even know what they give you. That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard with Jordan right now because he really didn't play last year. He kind of missed preseason. He had some nice moments in summer league. Like, I'm a little bit less certain. I mean, Baylor, we know kind of how he's been struggling. I mean, I didn't have a problem with them not playing. They played 10 guys in the first 10 minutes of this game. So they are using their bench, and, different matchups are going to call for different guys. But I felt like the first 10 minutes, I was not used to seeing that many subs. It was clear what Joe had been telling us about that fast rotation and kind of going deeper was going to happen. But those guys are not in the first 10 guys in the rotation at the moment. They're probably like 12 and 13. And so it's going to probably require some injuries, or, if Josh Minot doesn't do anything for his first 7 games as a Celtic and is not really giving them a whole lot, then Joe's going to give another guy a chance. But I do think like training camp and preseason have kind of bumped those 2 guys down, which we kind of saw coming into this opening game.
I thought Minot was good enough tonight too. In fact, if you were going to pick one guy who you would probably want to see a little more of in this game, it was probably him.
Yeah, no, I think he had some nice moments. What they're going for, like they're going for that steal, they're going for that deflection. I feel like sometimes they were a step slow, like they were a step behind, and it's just a matter of like better chemistry and kind of coming together more. But I saw the vision of what they're trying to do on multiple occasions, and he was at the forefront of that. Like there were a couple moments where he almost had that highlight play and then he just didn't have it quite. But I like the idea of what he was going for, especially on the defensive end. But yeah, I mean, this game to me was just a perfect case study of their margin of error is just so much thinner now.
Tiny.
And to be honest with you, like how many games have they lost even when they were fully stacked, when they were up by 11 in the fourth quarter? Like we've seen this before. This is not anything groundbreaking. And if Payton makes that final shot, we're spending this whole show focusing on all the things that went really well in this game, which I do think that there was a lot to like. But there's just the margin.
What did you like the most?
When I asked Payton that question, and he also struggled to answer. I think, to be honest with you, I actually thought that Nimi gave them enough.
Not Derek?
Derek, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to take Derek for granted.
Kate is a bright spot.
He was a bright spot. To me, Kate is such a question mark for this season, and if he can give you that, but be a little bit more disciplined, like maybe take away one of the illegal screens, stay out of foul trouble, and be able to close this game out, they probably win this game. I mean, that might have been the difference right there. So Keita was a bright spot, not like an A+, but he was a bright spot. I mean, Derek's offensive initiation, like we kind of already know what he's capable of.
So I only say Derek because he reached a level in that third quarter, and when they win the third by like 17, like
I think it was 35-18.
That was the quarter where you're like, all right, this is what it can look like. And he was leading the chart, block at the rim, pushing the ball the other way, initiating most of their offense in that quarter. Like he gets to a level sometimes where you're like, is this guy a borderline star? Like that's where it gets to sometimes. And if that's going to be there on many nights, that does make you feel a little bit better about this team because it doesn't have to be the Jalen show and Pritchard doesn't have to go off every night.
Wade is a borderline star?
No, White.
Who? White.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I'm saying the bright spot from this game for me was White.
Wait, did you think he was talking about Nimi this whole time?
John just tuned me out again.
I was looking at Wemby clips again.
This is the Derek White narrative, though. He has flashes of being incredibly awesome, and then we kind of forget that he's out there, or he's literally out there. And
he talked about that in training camp. His big thing this year is be consistent, and that's for a lot of guys on this team.
It is, but here's the thing, though. A lot of guys on this team don't have the ceiling that Derek White does. A lot of guys on this team don't have the ability to be the best player on the floor for 3, 4, 5 minute stretches and completely disappear for 5, 6, 7, 8 minute stretches. And his consistency, again, that's the only real knock I think you can make on Derek White's game. He's just not consistent enough. And I thought this game was very indicative of the biggest issue most people have with Derek White.
What was inconsistent though? Just his shot making?
His shot making wasn't consistent enough. His defense wasn't consistent enough. And again, to those 2 points, he had a stretch where he was making every damn shot. He was doing great things defensively. That block shot was awesome. And that's the thing about Derek White that is both the blessing and a burden to him. He shows you enough good things to where you know he can be a really, really great top tier all-star caliber player. And then there's stretches where he doesn't do that, where there's a tremendous drop off from when Derek is at his best and when he's not. And that's
difficult.
Right.
And that's difficult when you're best player on any given night, because Derek was the best player tonight. It wasn't Jalen. That could change on Friday. It could be Jalen running the show for the whole night. He feels great a couple of days later, and then Pritchard, was running the show on Sunday. So it's going to be by committee in a lot of different areas on this team, and that's the conversation we had going into tonight. Not totally related, but the rotation thing. It's great that you can have different guys chipping in different moments, but you almost reimagine yourself every single night with this team because stuff's going to be all over the place.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say is I feel like one of the kind of continued thoughts that I had was that they had no answer for Tyrese Maxey and they had no answer for Edgecombe. And that's not really Derek's best matchup, those kinds of quick guards. That has been an ongoing what?
Derek's going to tell Noah to STF.
Yeah.
We don't like to talk about guys struggling with quick guards.
That's his thing.
I upset Marcus Smart by saying that about him.
That's my guys. Marcus Smart, my man.
But he took it out. He took it out on Sherrod.
You might be getting a call.
No, we're not scared of Derek White. We want Noah's opinion. We want Noah's true opinion.
But no,
thank you.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
We love Derek. We love Marcus.
Did we talk to him tonight?
Yeah. Well, you didn't.
What was his demeanor?
It's fine. I think the team in general just feels like it was right there, and this is, I feel like I've gathered this more being a member of the media than beforehand, but literally the entire story now becomes all the things that went wrong, which is fair because that was the final outcome, but they were right there. I mean, they literally, I think you boil the game down to 3 miscommunications on defense on Tyrese Maxey, and this game doesn't even go down to the wire. And they battled, and Pritchard hit that 3. I thought that was a great play by Xavier Tillman to fight for that board and even give them that chance. And I liked the quick 2. There were some things we'll talk about how the execution down the stretch was not great, but they actually did some things pretty well as well. The 76ers won 4 of 6 from the line. That's not crazy bad.
They had 13.
But yeah, I think there was this feeling of damn, we had that one. That was everybody's demeanor. That was Jalen's demeanor. That was the vibe in the locker room.
Yeah, no doubt. But my Noah, tell me if you disagree. But my vibe with Jalen's press conference and Derek White's and just listening to them talk in general is they know what this is, and they were yeah, well, yeah, we gotta do better. It's not
Yeah, I don't know, because I think everybody just realizes
they know what, John.
What this is, who they are, what this team is.
We said that going in.
We're not that good, and so we got to see how it's gonna go. But it's almost like they're like resigned to their fate. That's what they sound like.
I didn't get that feeling at all.
I don't think you can say that
really.
after one
We
game.
we all did in the chat, just in this room, but yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say
being
that.
Here, I was not the feeling.
Oh, you didn't, Jimmy? Then it's
I
just
mean-
me. When I say we all, I just mean
Keep
me.
the faith, Jimmy. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I'll say.
I don't think they're resigned. Real quick, I don't think they're resigned to their fate. But I mean, obviously, they're disappointed with how things went out. And to your point, John, I'm not saying they can't get that. Won't happen at some point in the season. I don't think after game one that they're like ready to throw in the towel.
I think they've been there. For weeks, Jimmy. But that's my opinion.
So I felt a general, and I talked to Simons too after this one. Like I felt a similar, generally down demeanor after this one. Even Joe was like, "Yeah, you really can't screw up in those areas, and that's what cost us. We'll figure it out." I don't think it was a despair yet, but I'll say this: they got the Knicks on Friday. That's going to be an uphill battle, even with the injuries that the Knicks have. They have the Pistons on Sunday, who are pretty good. They got the Pelicans, who have Zion on Monday. Like every game, Cavs the next Wednesday. Not
they're
to
all
John, but like
they're all losable.
They're all losable.
I know.
And they're all winnable too. If,
like I said, there's going to be a lot of 50-50s on their schedule, but that's why when we're looking
every
at
night's
this team,
going to be 50-50.
You don't know which way it breaks because they're not good enough to just play their best and win. And an off night is a loss, and even good
and that's
nights.
What kills me
might
about
not be.
this one.
Yeah.
You had it, like you're up 13 at the start of the fourth. You probably should close that game. Like you got to take these ones. You're gonna lose some nights. You're not gonna have enough. You're not gonna have enough players. Like that stuff's gonna happen throughout the flow of the year. Embiid gave them nothing tonight. George didn't play. You're at home. You got to take that one. And again, we're not going to sit here at the end of the year and go, oh man, if they won this game and that game, they would have won the title. But if we're thinking that this year is going to be better than we expect, and we both do, these are the kind of games you got to win.
Yep. Closing thoughts, Jimmy, you got anything?
Yeah, I would say I wasn't completely surprised by how this one went tonight. I was hopeful that Celtics could win the home opener, but ultimately, I think talent does play out and win out, and I think that fourth quarter really showed what some of the struggles that they're going to run into later in the season. My two bright spots were Kada and Simons, and I said earlier on the show.
You like Simons?
I did. I thought Simons was a top 5 player tonight for them. Played both ends. I thought he had a couple of big shots in the second half. He had a nice move to the basket at a point where they really needed one. I think it put him up.
That was nice.
Either 7 or 9, I forget at the time.
He had some little defensive plays throughout too that I really liked.
I thought effort-wise, he was like playing with a purpose on defense. So he gets one of my bright spots. But ultimately, a little bit of dysfunction on that Celtics on the court tonight, late in the game, and I think it comes down to execution. And if you just don't have enough talent late in the game, you're going to come up short more often than not. So.
I will say, if you didn't know narratives or reputation going into this game, you wouldn't walk away from this one saying Anthony Simons is a terrible defender. He did nothing about his defensive efforts
No,
on in a
not
negative
one bit.
way. So if we're looking for bright sides, I think that's definitely. I was thinking that the whole game, like he's really competing on that, and you could see that he was so locked into it. And Joe kept high-fiving him when he made good plays, and it was obvious that's been a major focus for him.
It was interesting too. I talked to Walker this morning, who played with him for kind of an innocuous teammate, but he was like, oh man, I was watching him in the preseason. I had to text him right away and be like, your defense is way better now than it was. So like that actually is something people keep talking about. And I keep hearing too, the environment's better here. I know you've said that too, but I just keep hearing that from players and coaches when it comes to Simon. So maybe there is hope that this change of scenery does make that big of a difference for him.
Sherrod, you got anything?
Yeah, Simons was my guy tonight. And it was mainly because of just the point that you guys made about his defense. I mean, he had a play where he was back in transition, and not only did he not give up a layup, he forced the ball out of bounds. And they didn't get the possession. He prevented an easy layup that otherwise is probably a 3-point play where he picks up the foul. So I thought he did a lot of really good things. And the center by committee, they didn't suck. I mean, let's be honest. They weren't great, but you look at what Nimi gave you. You look at Tillman gave you some positive play. And Garza, before he got out, set a great screen that gave Derek White a great 3 that he knocked down. So, those are the positives.
Yeah, I also liked how genuinely excited Bill Chisholm looked on this sideline. He was. I'm not kidding. He was really
He was
into it. I like
thrilled.
that. I like to see that. I like to see that fire. I really do.
Was Wick here?
He was.
Yep, Wick was
Yeah.
there. Pierce was in the building too. Paul Pierce.
Wick's getting the Pags treatment though. He's
What's
kind of
the sideline excitement rankings? Pierce, Wick, Bill.
Bill was at the top by far.
Bill was
actually
jacked.
extremely locked into the sideline rankings. Yeah, Bill
I couldn't
was
see him from where I was.
Locked in.
Bill was jacked and pumped. He was really into it. I actually like to see
the
that.
whole
a lot.
family too, you know.
They were into it, man. They were really into it, which is
They
good.
were.
Just double down on all of that. Kada, that's a big question mark, even though Joe yanked him early,
Will you
which I
hire
don't believe
lower
was a
on him,
rotational
John?
thing. Look, I like his skill set. Like I said, Kada to me has always been like, poor man's Rob, in the sense that like he can do some things at a high level that nobody else on the team can do, and sometimes you're gonna have to live with the stuff that kills you, which is some of the stuff with the pick and rolls, being out of position, the weird setting screen, the lack of discipline setting screens, getting off his feet, the fouls. Like, it's not perfect, but he's the only hope they have there. So just ride it. Let him get better. Let him learn. Let him take his lumps. That's the whole thing. This is what's going to be tricky. It's not a type of team where you're like, play the kids and let them get better, because you just don't have them. But there's certain people who, like, if you have to project out a year or two from now, you're probably going to need Kada to be a player for you. So just let him play and learn. Benching a guy 3 minutes in for not grabbing a rebound is silly to me. Like, if there's a long con here, which is this is going to make you better tomorrow and the next day, fine, I can live with that too. But I am very interested in how obsessed. This is why we're like in this weird place with people talking about if they could just hold the line and be around the 5 or the 6, and then Tatum comes back and they can make a run and they can make some noise. I just wish we could look at this as a lost season and decide what you can pull from the wreckage moving forward, and then come out of from the ashes next year with Tatum, a draft pick, and then whatever you found in some of the players who you've given opportunities to that might actually be able to help you. But like, if you're obsessed with winning tonight or winning this game at the expense of any sort of player development, like, to me, it's take some lumps and let people grow, and then shrug your shoulders at the wins and the losses. I don't think it's the most important thing on this team this year. And so that's why I want to not get in the way of it. That's all.
I got one more question. Do you think like 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, we're going to have a good feel of where this is going?
Not necessarily. I mean, certainly a better feel. Like, I think we're learning a little bit about this team every day, but it's still going to be early in the season. And I think they have a tough schedule to start. So it's probably not going to be as good early on as it might turn into. But
I think I agree with that. But let's see. It stinks to lose a guy tonight. Stinks that Brown's starting the year banged up. Stinks to lose this game again. You were in a
stinks that this drill is going on right now too. I think we've hit exactly our point of where we're going to wrap it.
All right, we're off to New York.
With the perfect timing. Noah and Bobby are off to New York, so you can definitely check them out there. We'll be back with a Garden Report on Friday. I do want to let you know, if you download that Prize Picks app, our sponsor over here at the Garden Report, Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Download the Prize Picks app, use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Also, go get yourself some steak at omahasteaks.com. Use the code Patriots at checkout. Get an additional 35% off in addition to a 50% site-wide sale. You can't go wrong with that. Also, if you like WNBA coverage, I know the season is over. You can subscribe to our WNBA YouTube channel, also over on Apple and Spotify. That is driven largely by Noah Dalzell, who might have some extra content coming on there too. Double dipping, so to speak. So we should have some good stuff there. So make sure that you check that out. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Sherrod. Thank you to Jimmy. Thank you to Noah. Thank you to Bobby. Good to be back. Good to have you all here on the Garden Report with us. Celtics do lose. It happens. They're back at it Friday. Revenge game against the Knicks, who knocked them out in the second round of the playoffs last year. Mo, I know you're going to be there, buddy. Mo. Yeah.
I love Mo.
Yeah,
Mo's
Mo.
there.
Mo's a lot.
New York?
Jury's still out for me on Mo.
Mo, Well, where are we meeting you?
I'm a Moe's fan.
Joe's Pizza in Williamsburg or Joe's Pizza in Manhattan? Where are we going? Let's go to one of them. We'll meet you down there.
Don't go to Cat's
no,
Deli.
which one am I
Mo,
thinking of?
Come on, dude.
John's.
Are you kidding?
That's where
Cats
I'll
is
be.
incredible.
Yeah, but it's
What about
like the
John's
most
Bleecker?
basic. It's like
It's
give
not the
us
most
something.
basic. You can't get that anywhere else. You really can't.
No, but I mean, it's like
John,
the most. It's the most basic
It's
recommendation.
obvious.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
John, you're not a John's guy.
But it's still the best. What does that mean?
John's a Bleecker.
Oh, I know that.
The pizza place.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I go to Joe's a lot because I stay in Williamsburg, and they have one
Oh,
there.
you're on
and
the Brooklyn side.
It's
I'm
one.
always in
It's one.
Manhattan.
It's one stop over from where we go on Bedford Street. So we pop there a lot.
I'll tell you, I think you
there.
recommended a Greek place a couple years ago when I went down there, and it was out of this world. So I'm gonna grab something from you.
Also, Lindustry, another place in Brooklyn, also in Williamsburg, terrific slice shop. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We will see you. I don't know if Amit went to work on a new outro. He did a new intro, but he's got it.
Let's hear
This
it.
might be new.
Oh wow. Okay.